You think that staying calm makes you strong, but that silence you use to keep the peace, to her, it actually feels like disconnection. And so you're trying to not make things worse, but she reads it as you don't care at all and you don't give a shit. And so that's the moment that everything starts to fall apart. Research from the Gottman Institute found out that when one partner shuts down during conflict, what psychologists call stonewalling, that's when basically the other's stress hormones spike, heart rate rises, and repair becomes impossible. So it's not just emotional, it's also biological. So let me show you what is really happening underneath it all. So let's say that your name is Joe, okay? This is you right here. That's Joe, okay? And Joe is getting triggered. And usually triggers start small. It could be a tone, it could be a question, it could be a look. And she says something along the lines of, you never open up and you never make time for us. And so what you hear is criticism, and what she feels is distance. I also want to let you guys know before I continue that being in a relationship, whenever I say with a narcissist or toxic or whatever, these things are the words that we throw around. At the root of it all, what I'm really trying to say to you, so you can kind of decipher in your mind if you are in a relationship like this, because you could be, as a man, you could be the anxious one and the woman could be more avoidant, and it could be vice versa. So it's not gender based. So I just want us to remember that. And secondly, what I wanted to say is that if you're in a relationship, the quickest way to know if somebody's toxic, unhealthy, just not good for you. That's it. That's literally, it's as simple as that. They're just not good for you. The easiest way to find out is that they lack empathy. Say it with me. They lack empathy. Not that they cannot communicate, because a lot of people struggle with communication. I still to this day struggle with communication. It's constant work, it's constant practice. And so if you find yourself in a relationship where that person genuinely doesn't give a shit about you, they cheat on you, they hide from you, they lie to you, they steal from you, and they just gaslight you, that is not a good relationship to be in. So I just want to say that, preface this, I should have said at the start. I'm talking about a relationship that needs work, because every single relationship needs work, and both the parties are open to each other's needs. They're open to listen. They're not perfect. They make mistakes all the time, but they can apologize and they can hold themselves accountable. That's the kind of couple that I'm talking about. And if you are single right now, this video is still for you, because the only way that you're going to understand and learn about how to be or attract a healthy relationship is to learn how to be in a healthy relationship. Most of the times we think, okay, when we're in the relationship, then we're just going to figure it all out, which is, by the way, what I like to do. I just like to figure it out as I'm drowning. That is not the way it's meant to be. You're meant to learn just how, when you do a test in school, you don't learn the day of. I mean, most people, they like to learn a couple of weeks before that test. It's the same way. So when Joe is triggered, what happens is her emotions are a protest for connection, and your perception is an attack or, oh my god, criticism. If we just understand this on its own, it's gonna really help you out. And I've been in a relationship like this where I was that person who was constantly look for a solution. How do we solve this? We have a disconnect right here. I want to make it, I want to be happy. I want to make it okay. But the other person was okay to sleep at night without solving the problem. And they were just like asleep, like the most peaceful human on the planet, while I was stressed and I'm like anxious and I'm overthinking and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm having all of these thoughts. But then the other person is okay to fall asleep in peace and just forget about it. So that is where the disconnect happens, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate with that. And also, she's not really, well, for the most part, she's not really trying to control you, even though it's maybe looks like that. She's really trying to feel close to you. But what happens is your nervous system only is hearing threat. It's as if a big bear is chasing you, and all it is just your woman is just trying to connect with you. And I know it feels that way, but that is why this work, this knowledge, this understanding is so important before you even get in a relationship. And even if you're in one, you can learn now. It's never too late. So right after trigger, what do you think comes next? Think about it. I'm not gonna say it. What do you take a little guess? After you're triggered, what do you do in a relationship? Usually, you might be somebody tends to shut down. And so basically, when she's not able to grasp any sort of connection from you, she tends to get louder and louder. And if she's, doesn't know how to regulate herself, or she's not really doing the work on herself, or she's just a human. Humans make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. That happens sometimes, maybe after a long time of frustration. And so when you're watching her about to erupt, what you do then usually is you then step back and you're trying to calm down. And you think in your mind that this silence is what's going to keep the peace. I just need to quiet down and let her just have it. And sometimes there's a place for that where women just like to vent and men also like to vent. But if she's really trying to connect to you, then silence is really not the way. And so to her, that calm looks like absence. It looks like you're abandoning her, you're leaving her. And that is when shit hits the fan for most of us. So what happens now is that Joe goes into a room and locks himself in there, and he's like, I can't deal with this right now. I gotta go. And he tends to shut down. And so what happens is that you tend to withdraw, and that enables you to feel calmer. Whereas for her, she feels abandoned, which then enables things to escalate way more than it should. And so what happens is you're trying to regulate, and that is when she destabilizes, and that's when the polarity flips, basically. And now let's try to take a guess. After Joe is triggered, then he shuts down, he locks himself in a room, he's like, I'm done with this. What do you think happens next? Disconnection, which is our favorite word on this channel. I used to be so much better at drawing. What happened? That's Joe. And this is your woman. I don't know why she has curly. Oh, sorry. She's a bit sad too. Let's call her Alicia. And slowly there's a disconnect in your connection, which is not something that you want to go through. Now you both are triggered, and it's just in opposite directions, right? And so she's chasing safety through closeness, and you're chasing safety through space. And so her nervous system he is leaving, and then your nervous system is, we love hearing this as women, she's too much, or she's too dramatic, okay? She's too crazy or argumentative, all these things. We love it as women. Just keep on going. And so basically this is a bit of a loop. You start off getting triggered, you shut down, and then you disconnect. And it keeps on happening over and over and over again. Every round of this loop makes her trust you less. Even though you might think, oh, it's not affecting, it's just fine, just keep on going, keep on moving, and do the same old things. No. And there's actually underlying effects of this loop. It might seem sexy. Maybe you might have, this is just part of the pattern in your relationship, and you might have great makeup, but sooner or later, this is going to end bad for everybody. And also, you trust yourself less. This is another thing that I want to mention. So it's not only that she trusts you less, but you tend to start doubting yourself. You start to trusting yourself less because you're like, why does this keep happening? What's wrong with me? And you might start overthinking and lose confidence. And of course, this is going to affect than your intimacy between both of you guys. This is how good people end up in bad cycles, not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to stay present when things get uncomfortable, which it always will. A relationship is meant to make things uncomfortable for us because that's the only way we're going to grow. And what happens is before our soul comes into this physical existence, physical realm, we already know who we're choosing to partner up with. It's already written down in the Akashic records, okay? Your soul has chosen to reincarnate into this moment in time because you're meant to learn. Well, your soul chose to learn specific lessons because you have to learn these lessons in this realm because that is the only way that you're gonna go into the next dimension. We think that soulmates are there and it's going to be an easy flowing relationship, but a lot of the times you both are meant to mirror all the work that your soul is meant to do in this lifetime. So you might think like, oh, this is all great the first couple of months, but then you're going to realize, oh my God, wait, there's actually, this is tough. I need to do constant work on this relationship because they are actually there to allow us to heal our shadow self, which is our suppressed self. Because when we release the suppressed self, that is when we're truly able to be completely whole and complete and accept all parts of ourselves, not just the perfect versions of ourselves on social media. I'm going to now explain to you the solution. And chill back up here again. So let's go through these steps again and see what can you do a little bit differently to get you a different result. Let's see again. You get triggered. As we all will, it just happens to all of us, as normal. So when you feel that tension is rising, I want to keep saying arising. When you feel like tension is rising in you, what you can go to is, instead of the next usual thing that you would tend to do is to shut down. So instead of shutting down, what I want you to cultivate within yourself is awareness. Don't we all love that? Awareness. So what you're going to do, you're going to notice your body, you're going to notice your breath. And usually what happens when you get triggered, like your jaw kind of clenches, you're breathing really heavily. There's ways to notice. Once you do it once or twice, your body will recognize it much faster. So it's all about practice and really just that awareness and calmness within you. So notice your body, notice when you're shutting down. And that is when I would like you to regulate your little self, okay? That is when you take space, breathe, reset, and come back grounded. And by the way, when you're taking space, you're actually going to communicate that you're taking some space. I need 10 minutes. I need some time. And you have to, well, we're going to talk about this after. I'm going to give you some pointers as well on it. So being able to communicate is key. When you feel like you're just about to say something that you're going to regret, that's when you take yourself off, when you say it in a loving way. Like, I care about you. I'm going to come back after I just get myself all together. There's ways of saying these things and moving in the world instead of acting out of anger or slamming doors or doing all of these things that we've been brought up with. I mean, I have. Anyways. And lastly, you're going to reconnect. So now you're going to lead with calm and not silence, which you're used to. So now your loop looks a little bit different. We've added one extra step in there. So instead of shutting down and instead of disconnecting, which is you're losing trust, and your lack of awareness is putting a wedge in your relationship, instead, we're gonna then get triggered. As I said, we all will, always will. And you have an awareness. Oh my God, I'm getting triggered. I feel it. And then you tend to regulate yourself, regulate your emotions. There's different ways of doing this. I'm going to maybe talk about it a little bit in the next clip. And then we're going to reconnect. So you're still going to get triggered, but now the loop builds trust instead of breaking it. And that is what is going to build the fun, the friendship, the love, the passion, the romance. Like, all of these things are going to come from doing these steps instead of doing what we have seen our parents do, and we've seen how that has worked out not too well. And yes, there's a lot of couples back in the day where they've been together for like 50, 60 years, but they could barely stand each other. How many couples, I mean, I know a lot of couples that, they've just been sold this lie, like, if just to be together and that's you've mated. But no, if you're in a relationship, you want to actually like want to spend time with them. You don't want to spend time apart with them from them. Now let's talk about 3 steps that will change everything. So the first step is preparation. I love this quote by John F. Kennedy. The time to repair the roof is when the sun is shining. It's genius. Most couples wait until they're drowning to learn how to swim. And I've been this person so many times, it's a bit embarrassing to admit to, but it's just the reality. I've learned from it. And so a lot of the times I'm trying to build a foundation in homes that have cracks. They have huge cracks, mold, and that is not the way to build a relationship, to build a family. Peace is built before the storm. So before you have an argument or conflict in your relationship, it is best to talk about these things. Talk about how you're going to handle conflict. You talk about it when you're calm, you're in good spirits. And if you don't, what tends to happen is that the same emotional pattern is most probably going to repeat over and over again, which is then going to lead to either a breakup or a divorce. It's as simple as that. We make relationships so complicated. It really isn't. It's very simple. Okay, no, I lied. It's a little bit complicated at times. The second step that can change everything for you is emotional ownership. One thing I need you to realize is that you cannot control her. You cannot control a human being. The only thing that you can control in life is yourself and your nervous system. That's it. So it's not only about regulating before you respond, but it's also about adding a good morning routine. I talk about this all day long, where you either add some sort of a meditation. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to do, but do something that you're called to do. Practice different things. Maybe, you get up in the morning and you have 10 minutes of transcendental meditation. That meditation is beyond. If you're somebody that is, you're just like trying to figure out how to have peace in the morning, if you feel like you're super reactive, I think honestly, everybody should practice transcendental meditation. I'm butchering how to say it, but figure out a practice that you could do in the morning. Why I always say in the morning is because that is when your subconscious mind is wide open, and also you're priming your mind, your emotions for the rest of the day. A lot of people say, "Oh, I just do this at night or something," and that's great. I think doing things at night is amazing, but I think everybody should prioritize, at least just from my experience, the morning routine. Every time that you hold your ground with empathy instead of defense, you basically are showing her safety. And you show yourself strength, because it's like, wow, I can actually handle this. It makes you feel confident within yourself. And that, by the way, you're not only going to use in the relationship, but in your workspace as well. And it will make a huge difference in your energetic field. Joe Dispenza talks about the heart coherence. When your heart and your brain the waves are coherent, what happens is you then tend to attract all the things you want in your life, because your magnetic field is wide open to receive those things. But when you're leading a life with stress, anxiety, with worry, with fear, all of these things, you're going to find everything difficult in your life. Everything is going to be difficult to manifest. Your relationships are going to be chaotic. Your life is going to be chaotic. It affects all parts of you. We all are vibrating. Everything in your life is just a bunch of particles and atoms. And once we understand this, that this is just a temporary experience, and you don't sometimes need to take life so damn seriously. And it will allow you to lead your life more with peace instead of trying to prove your worthiness in your relationship to yourself, to people around you. Studies from Harvard show that emotional self-regulation is the single strongest predictor of long-term relationship satisfaction, stronger than communication skills or attraction. So that just, it gives you a little bit of a hint how important this is. And lastly, I'm sure we love to hear this again. Awareness. Make that your mantra. Awareness. This is where being self-reflective really helps you and your ego, getting your ego out of the way for the time being, so you can sit and reflect on how you're showing up really does make a big impact in relationships and just in your life in general. And so asking yourself, what energy did I bring today? My handwriting is getting worse and worse. Sometimes it's not about her tone, but it's about the frequency that you're carrying. And a lot of the times, you could be having a hard time at work. You've probably had an argument with one of your family members, your mom or dad or whatever. And what happens is that is in your energetic field. And you're carrying that in your frequency, which you might not be thinking that it is, but it really does affect. As women, we're super intuitive, so we feel these things more than you might realize. And also, there's a lot of conflicts that often replay childhood patterns. And so basically, for example, you withdraw like your father did. Whenever you saw him having a conflict with your mom, that's what you saw. Or you chase validation like your mother once wanted. Okay, so in life, I always tell you guys this. You don't become who, what your parents tell you to be. You become what you're watching, what you're observing. And so once you finally see this pattern, you then stop reliving it over and over again. At least it helps you to get out of that pattern when you finally observe it. I'm going to leave you with this quote, which is, until you make, oh my God, this quote is so good. I cannot. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life. And you will call it fate. That's just phenomenal by Carl Jung. Oh my God, that is so literally just encompasses everything that I just spoke about. Anything that is unconscious, anything that you're not aware of, you're going to keep on repeating the cycle. It is going to create your life. So the faster that you realize that this thing called awareness exists and you can change your life through it, the faster you're able to attract whatever the hell you're looking for in this lifetime. You think that you're staying calm and she thinks that you don't care. The truth is that you both have been trying to feel safe in different ways. And so real leadership isn't silence, it's presence. This is the work. Learning to stay steady without disappearing. Learning to face your truth without running away. Learning to have conflict resolution. How do I resolve this problem that we keep on having instead of just remaining stuck and living the same day over and over again? And so if this message hit home to you, fill out the form below to apply for my one-on-one coaching. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to be the calm, not the silence.